Hi guys, it's Madeline. I'm here to do my persuasive speech. I've chosen the topic of climate change and whether or not it is real, and if it is, are humans the cause of it? This topic has been kind of like portrayed as heavily debated by the media and in some kind of like Republican versus Democrat political scenes, but for the most part, it is not a like heavily debated topic once you get into scientific communities. Actually, 97% of scientists fully recognize climate change and believe that it is real and that humans are the cause of it, and that we have a limited amount of time to do something to stop where we are headed with loss of biodiversity, destruction of habitat for humans, plants, and animals, and to just protect ourselves and our world from these catastrophic events that we're seeing happening around the world. So here is a little PowerPoint I made. Hopefully you guys can see the screen, just to kind of go along with. So we're talking about two major themes, being climate change and global warming. Hopefully you guys can see me even though it's kind of dark. So we have global warming and climate change. So global warming is the overall trend of the earth getting warmer, and then climate change is the long-term changes in the earth's climate that we see as a result of warming temperatures. So we're going to go through all of those specific things that we're seeing happening in the world now that are attributed to climate change that is caused by global warming. So that's kind of the difference between those two terms, and you'll be hearing them used a lot. So the first one is rising sea levels. So we have seen the sea levels rise from 1870 to, this chart only goes to 1990, to 100 millimeters. In the last decade it has, in the last century it has risen 8 inches, and that's in the last another way to look at that is the last 2 decades it has risen twice as much as it has in the last century. So we're seeing a hugely accelerated rise in sea level, not just like a slow slope. The last 20 years have risen 2 times more than the last 100 years. So that's pretty alarming, I would say. We have global temperature rise, as shown on this graph here. So we can see this is like an average temperature line, and past 1940 we are only above the line up here, and you can see we have high spikes, record highs in the last years since the 2000s. We have increased CO2 that we are putting out through human industry, and that's what that's what scientists are attributing to the rise in temperature. We have increased CO2, which traps heat in our atmosphere. It doesn't allow it to escape as it usually would have. This is the greenhouse gas effect. So the heat is pressed or like reflected back down into the Earth's lower atmosphere, and then warms our land and water. So we have warming oceans. This is a graph you can see is predominantly warm colors. The orange and red show temperatures warmer than average. The blues, which there are some, show temperatures lower or cooler than average. So the ocean water absorbs much more carbon dioxide than land does, and in the top 2,300 feet, we have seen a 0.302 degrees Fahrenheit temperature rise, and that doesn't seem like a lot, but if you just picture for a second how large the ocean is, how much heat, the term is calories, how much calories is needed to, a calorie is the amount of heat needed to raise an amount of water 1 degree Fahrenheit. How much calories would need to be put into a body of water that size to raise the top 2,300 feet? Any amount of temperature is just a huge amount of heat and carbon dioxide. And warmer oceans can spur catastrophic weather events such as hurricanes, tsunamis, floods, things like that. So we have melting ice sheets. You can see the Greenland ice sheet. In the last years, it was watched by the Gravity, Recovery, and Climate